Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Bad Beast Barbecue. Hey, today we're cooking in the garage. I wanted to do it outside. It's a beautiful day out there, but the wind is blowing excessively and the cicadas are doing their thing, making all types of noise. Okay. Those things are some of the most annoying creatures on the face of the earth. And it makes it very difficult to videotape outside when they're up and going. Okay. Today we're going to be using the swamp bucket. So this is a plastic bucket that was invented. The bucket wasn't invented, but the contraption was invented by some guys in Brewery, Louisiana. Okay, they call it a swamp bucket. It's a boiling bucket to boil seafood and what have you. My nephew Kelton knows the guys at the Swamp Bucket Company, and he had them send me one of these to check out. All right, so this is the second time that we're cooking in this, and the first time I was really impressed. Okay, and it's a simple thing. It's a BPA free plastic bucket with the heating element down in the bottom of it. All right. And it comes with a screw on lid. It has a seal that goes around the lid. And it boils up to like 10 pounds worth of seafood. Now, today we're going to be cooking 5 pounds of crawfish, a few pounds of shrimp, and some lobster tails. Okay, we may even toss some crab legs in there to see if we can get them to fit in. Okay, the one thing about this is that the safety for safety's sake, they say that don't plug it into an extension cord. Okay, however, where I'm situated here in the garage, I have no choice but to use an extension cord. And so I'm going to use one of these heavy duty outdoor extension cords, and hopefully that will suffice to maintain the temperature of the bucket. All right. So it's an $89 bucket. And now, why would you want something like this? Well, I mean, if you're doing the small batches of seafood and you don't want to pull out the big pot and the burner and the propane tank and go through the hassle of setting all that up, or you don't want to boil seafood in your house to get the smell of the seasonings all over your house, this would be ideal to do outside. Just plug it up, let the water boil, put your seasonings in, put your seafood in, and let it go. Okay, so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this bad boy out for the second time. And I won't put as much water as I did last time because it kind of overflowed last time. So enough talk. Let's go ahead and get some seafood in the boil. All right, so now we're going to be pouring in 3 to 3.5 gallons of water into our swamp bucket. All right, so now that we've had our 3 gallons of water in our 5 gallon bucket, we have it plugged in. We'll go ahead and put the top on it because it should reach a boiling point much faster with the top on. Okay, guys, so it took 45 minutes for it to get up to a boil. Okay, it's not quite up to 212 yet, but it's at 208. 212 is boiling point. So we're going to go ahead and start putting our seasonings in right now. So the first thing we're going to put in is we're going to put in 14 ounces of Louisiana Cajun fire seasoning. That's going to bring a little heat to the process, right? And then we have 8 ounces of Zatarain's concentrated seafood boil. All right. Then I have 1 cup of Zatarain's seafood powder. We got 4 lemons cut up. I'm gonna put these over on the side where away from the heating element. I don't want them to land on the heating element. And last but not least, we have our vegetable slurry, which is 1 bell pepper, 3 stalks of celery, uh, 1 onion blended up, and with a little water. Rinse that out. Okay, so we're gonna let this combination return to a boil, and then we'll get our potatoes and our corn in there. All right, so don't go nowhere. All right, guys, so we're back to a rolling boil. Like I said, we still haven't gotten up to 212 degrees yet, so I'm looking for that rapid, violent boil. But we're gonna go ahead and put our corn in now. We're gonna let our corn and our potatoes boil for about 15 minutes before we put the seafood in. All right, we're gonna cover this up. Let me give it a stir right quick. Everything is floating. Okay. And we're gonna let her go for about 15 minutes. And then we'll start putting our seafood in. All right, sounds like our water has gotten up to that violent boil that I like to see. There it goes. Look at that. Amazing that little plastic pot gets that hot, huh? All right, so now we're gonna throw in our crawfish. Okay, so we got 5 pounds of Louisiana frozen crawfish. They've already been boiled and purged. It's just a matter of reheating them. And I know you say, well, why don't I have any raw, fresh crawfish? No, that's because Illinois has stopped allowing live crawfish to be shipped into the state. They're saying that they're getting released and they're becoming a nuisance, or they're infiltrating the lakes and stuff and taking over, becoming a nuisance. Me personally, I, crawfish so expensive, I can't see how anybody is releasing them out in the wild. So anyway, and so we're gonna let that come back to a boil, and then we're gonna throw our shrimp in. Oh. All right, so we're back up to a boil. We're gonna put our final ingredients in. So first, we're gonna stick a few crab legs in there. Let them heat through, absorb some of that seasoning. All right. And finally, we're gonna put our shrimp in there and a few lobster tails. So I know this is probably a little bit more than 10 pounds of food, but we're gonna test out the swamp bucket. So throw some seafood in the seasoning and bucket. All right. So once we let this get back up to a rolling boil, we're gonna turn this off and we're gonna let everything sit and soak for roughly 30 minutes. All right, guys, as you can see, we've pushed it to its limit. We got the water boiling over out of the holes. So we'll see what we look like here, and then we'll unplug it. Woo-hoo, this is hot. All right, everything looks really good. We're gonna go ahead and unplug this bad boy, and we're gonna let everything soak for about 30 minutes. I'll put the top back on just so things will stay hot. All right, guys, so our seafood has been soaking in the bucket for about 45 minutes now, so we can pour off the water, and that's what these holes in the top of the lid for. I got a secondary 5-gallon bucket to pour the water in so that I can let it cool down and pour it down the sink instead of pouring it out in the yard. And make sure you wear gloves when you're handling this because the bucket is really hot. All right. Now let's see what we got inside the bucket. Move out top. And pour out the goodies. Whew. And there you have it. Man, that smells good. And there we have it. A nice seafood boil made in a 5-gallon bucket. Came out fantastic. All right. So let me give you my final thoughts on the swamp bucket. Okay, guys, so that finishes our cook and using of the swamp bucket. I got to say, I'm really impressed with this little 5-gallon bucket here. It took about, I don't know, 45 minutes for the heating element to get 3 gallons of water up to 208 to 212 degrees to get that rolling boil action that you're used to when you're doing seafood boils. Okay, so it's not something that's really quick, but you know, if you have a leisurely day and you're out here and you want to do some seafood and stuff, man, this thing will definitely work out well. Um, you know, like I said, it prevented the need to pull out the pots and the propane tanks and the burner and all of that. Um, be careful how much water you put in or how much seafood you put in it, because we took it right up to the top. It's supposed to boil like 10 pounds of food. We put 3 gallons of water in here, and then we put like 5 pounds of frozen crawfish in there. We put in 2 pounds of crab legs. We put in 2 pounds or so of shrimp, and then lobster tails. And so it really pushed the water up to the top, as you saw, with some of it coming out of the holes. But all in all, man, you know, there's on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this bad boy a 9. Okay, there's only a couple of things that I would change on here. Um, it performed well plugged into an extension cord, even though you're not supposed to. The only thing that I would do differently is like here, as you can see, the plug is attached to the bucket. And so it gets in your way sometimes when you get ready to pour the water out. So you got to make sure you move that out of the way. It would have been nice if it was some type of plug-in cord to plug into the back of the bucket to the heating element. That way you could remove it and it'd be easy for storage. But it's permanently attached to the bucket, so I worry about the wire frame and stuff like that. So I'm really careful when I'm rolling it up or putting it away for storage. Okay, but all in all, it's a great little bucket. $89, man. I'll put the website up here on the screen and in the description block. I may even get a second one of these if we're gonna do anything, a bigger boil. Okay. They also have a steamer bucket that fits inside of this, and then this lid fits on top of the steamer bucket in case you want to steam some food instead of boiling it. Okay, so check out swampbuckets.com. The guys at Bruley, Louisiana. There are a lot of imitations out there, a lot of knockoffs out there, but like I say, this one here works really, really well. So thank you guys for sending us this, and let's say might be purchasing another one in the near future. Okay, well, that's about it. That's all we have to say. Like we always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. If it's fire, then damn it, there just might be a barbecue there or a swamp bucket plugged in, rolling with your seafood. Hey, as always, hey, we'll see you guys around the smoker.